This is Randy Bloom. Randy, you've taken care of this Suburban, and incidentally, it's got 640,000 miles on it. And at about 400,000, I ran it a lot of miles without a water pump because the serpentine belt went bad, and I didn't know it. And I looked down, and boy, the heat gauge was buried in the red. It was 106 degrees outside air temperature that day. So it ran a lot of miles without water flowing through it. Anyway, I figured it was probably gone at that time, but it wasn't. But I noticed it started leaking a little bit after that. I was using a little water, and so I threw in some dike, didn't think about it for another 200 and some thousand. And then here, when was it, Randy? Last fall that we flushed it. We thought,
yes.
We better go ahead and flush it, just spiff it up a little, and it started using water after that. Well, I'd forgotten I'd had dike in it for 200 and some thousand miles. Then I put some more dike in it, but it still would take just a little bit of water every once in a while, and didn't want to take a chance of that antifreeze getting down into the crankcase. So Randy, just this morning you took the manifold off, and you said it's probably needs to have a new intake manifold gasket, right?
Correct.
Okay, take us, what'd you find, Randy?
Oh, I took the intake manifold off, and if you look inside the valley of the engine, you can see how clean the engine is, and basically that's the way it was when I took the intake off. There's no sludge buildup, there's no debris forming anywhere in any of the cavities, so the engine oil is actually doing more than its job, is keeping everything clean inside the engine, and everything looks good in there. You know, without taking anything else apart further, it looks really good on the inside of that valley. Most engines that have this kind of miles on them, if they have any kind of a decent maintenance at all, they're still going to have quite a bit of buildup inside the valleys of that engine. And this one's clean. It's just, you know, it's clean as a one with probably 50,000 miles on it inside. So.
And Randy, again, now how many times have you had to work on this engine?
Oh, the engine, never. I mean, just tune-ups. That's it.
Yeah.
Never had to do anything major to the engine.
And it does have 600 and between, well, approaching 640,000 miles now.
Yeah.
Yeah, you've never had a wrench on the engine. And one of the things that's surprised me, Randy, the valve covers. After all this time, there's no leaks on the garage floor. The valve covers don't even leak.
No.
600 and nearly 40,000 miles, and you said normally these ports, even at 50 or 100,000, you'd have to really chip out the.
Yeah, the EGR ports get plugged over a period of time, and these just had a little buildup on the inside of the heads that I chipped out of there, and they chipped right out, and we'll be able to keep the EGR ports clean again. So, you know, I'm sure some of that has to do with the fuel mate and the 4-power, keeping it clean in the fuel system.
And oh, you were showing us the looking down into the right below the throttle body, right?
Yes.
Where's that?
Down the intake, it's super clean, and the ports of the intake are clean. And
can you get the light down in there?
I mean, you can just see different ports of this thing and how clean they are, and really. That's the way it was when I took it off of there. So. And
that's something.
So that the fuel additives are doing their job and keeping all that the intake's clean, the injector's clean, and you know, actually the back of the valves will be the same way. So.
Now we can see it a little better. Yeah. Okay. Well, Randy, I tell you what, I appreciate what you've done over the last several 100,000 miles on this vehicle. It's been very inexpensive to own. I suppose I'll have a $40,000 bill on this manifold gasket today, but
not really.
Yeah, but anyway, hey, we appreciate your time. We'll get out of your hair and let you get to work because I need the Suburban.
All right.
All right. Thanks, Randy.
Yep.